Welcome to Beacon of Books, where we turn the world's best books once into concise and powerful insights you can learn in just minutes.
At the beginning of the story, let's meet Yusuf, an investor who has recently entered the world of financial markets. Yusuf knew that there were multiple ways to profit in the markets, but he had one big question. Can I consistently make money by selling options? At first, he believed that buying stocks was the only way to profit. However, when he met Ahmed, an experienced investor who had been involved in option selling for years, his perspective changed entirely. Ahmed, with his deep experience, pointed out that selling options is a method that many investors don't think about, but it can be one of the most profitable strategies if done correctly. Chapter 2. What are options, and how do they work? Before diving into the world of option selling, Yusuf needed to understand the basics of options. In this chapter, the book explains that options are financial contracts that give someone the right to buy or sell an asset at a future date, without being obligated to do so. There are two main types of options: call options, which give the right to buy an asset, and put options, which give the right to sell it. But where is the profit in selling these options? Yusuf learned that when an investor sells an option, they receive a premium from the person buying the option, and in exchange, they agree to fulfill the terms of the option if the buyer decides to exercise it. At this stage in the story, Yusuf started to realize that selling options could be highly profitable, especially if the investor believes that the underlying asset won't reach the price set by the buyer. But does this mean there is no risk involved? Chapter 3. Risks in selling options. Ahmed told Yusuf that selling options isn't risk-free. While the investor can earn the premium when selling the option, there is significant risk if the market moves in the opposite direction of what they predicted. For example, if Yusuf sells a call option on a stock and the stock price rises significantly, he would be obligated to buy the stock at a lower price than the market value, resulting in a substantial loss. The book emphasizes here that risks are an inherent part of the option selling process. However, if managed carefully, these risks can be minimized through strategies like hedging or loss limitation. Chapter 4. Option selling strategies. In this chapter, Yusuf learns advanced selling strategies that can help increase profits while minimizing risks. One of the most common strategies he learns about is covered call writing, where the investor sells a call option on a stock they already own. If the stock price rises, the option is exercised, and the investor profits by selling the stock at a price higher than the original cost, along with the premium received from selling the option. Another strategy Yusuf discovers is put selling, which allows the investor to sell a put option on a stock they expect to rise or remain stable. If the stock stays above the strike price, the only profit the investor receives is the premium from selling the option. As Yusuf progresses in his learning, he realizes that option selling can be a consistent income stream, but it requires balanced strategies and a deep understanding of the market. Chapter 5. Risk management in option selling. Ahmed gave Yusuf a valuable piece of advice. Risk management is the key to success in option selling. In this chapter, the book explains several methods for managing risks. One fundamental approach is determining the potential loss level and setting stop-loss orders in case the market moves unexpectedly against you. The book also discusses the importance of balancing returns and risks, where investors must set predefined limits for the risks they are willing to take and work to reduce those risks by diversifying their portfolio and carefully selecting the options they sell. Chapter 6. How to choose the right stocks for option selling. At this stage of the story, Yusuf has become more knowledgeable and begins wondering how to choose the right stocks to sell options on. The book offers strategic advice on how to select stocks that are relatively stable in price and do not exhibit significant volatility that might expose the investor to major losses. Yusuf learns that large-cap stocks and those with moderate volatility are the best choices for selling options. He also discovers that timing plays a critical role, and selecting the right expiration dates is essential to maximize profits while minimizing risks. Chapter 7. Technical Analysis and Options. In this chapter, Yusuf learns the importance of technical analysis when determining the right time to sell options. The book explains how investors can use technical tools like charts and technical indicators to identify the optimal moments for selling options. Yusuf realizes that by understanding market patterns, he can make his option selling decisions with greater precision and success. Chapter 8. Building a profitable option selling portfolio. By now, Yusuf has become an experienced investor and starts thinking about how to build a portfolio composed of multiple options to sell. The book explains the importance of diversification and not relying solely on one type of option for profits. By diversifying across different sectors or asset types, the investor can reduce risks and create a more sustainable income stream. Chapter 9. The Psychological Challenges of Option Selling. At this point, Yusuf faces psychological challenges that could affect his decision-making. The book discusses the emotional pressures involved in making financial decisions in volatile markets and how to cope with emotions like fear and greed. Yusuf learns that he must remain disciplined and stick to his strategic plans, avoiding impulsive decisions based on anxiety or excitement. Chapter 10. Conclusion and Practical Guidance. Finally, after following various strategies and learning from his mistakes, Yusuf becomes an expert in option selling. The book concludes by emphasizing that option selling is not just a technical skill, but an art that requires discipline, planning, and strategic thinking. Achieving success in this field requires a combination of knowledge, experience, and careful risk management. Conclusion: we have explored in this book how option selling can be a powerful source of profit when executed correctly. By learning different strategies, managing risks intelligently, and carefully selecting stocks, investors can generate a steady and sustainable income from these financial instruments. However, investors must remain cautious and committed to their strategic plans.
This was a summary of today's book from the Beacon of Books channel. If you liked the video, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel to receive all the new content.